The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Book summary in under 4 minutes. Robert Jordan's The Eye of the World begins in an isolated rural community and expands into a story about destiny, identity, and the burden of power. Rand al'Thor and his friends grow up in the Two Rivers, where ancient wars and monsters seem like distant legends. That certainty disappears when mysterious enemies begin hunting several young villagers, forcing Rand, Mat, Perrin, Egwene, and others to leave home with Moiraine, a powerful Aes Sedai, and Lan, her protector. Moiraine believes the attacks are connected to an ancient struggle against the Dark One, and that one of the young men may have a role in events larger than any of them understand. The journey becomes more than an escape. It forces the group to confront ruined civilizations, political rivalries, supernatural dangers. Jordan uses the travelers' separation to develop them individually. Rand becomes troubled by questions about his heritage and strange abilities he cannot explain. Mat's curiosity exposes him to a corrupting influence that changes his behavior and isolates him from his friends. Perrin discovers a connection with wolves, forcing him to rethink what being human means. Egwene responds differently. Rather than fearing every new possibility, she becomes interested in learning to use the One Power. Their experiences show how differently people react when the familiar disappears. Some cling to old assumptions, some become suspicious, and others see change as opportunity. This makes the novel more than a quest story. It becomes a coming-of-age narrative about young people discovering that the world is more complicated than the stories they were raised with. As the companions cross farms, wilderness, abandoned places, and great cities, the conflict's scale becomes clearer. Institutions that once sounded heroic or frightening prove complicated in reality. The Aes Sedai can protect people, but are also feared. Political powers compete for influence. Ancient evil survives where history has been forgotten. Even friendship becomes difficult when fear and secrecy shape the group. Eventually, the scattered travelers reunite and journey toward the dangerous northern frontier. There, Rand is forced into a confrontation that reveals a connection to the One Power. The discovery is both empowering and terrifying because men who channel risk madness due to an ancient corruption affecting the male half of that power. That contradiction becomes one of the novel's most important ideas. Power is not automatically heroic. The ability that may allow Rand to resist darkness could also destroy his sense of self and threaten everyone around him. His greatest fear is not simply an outside enemy, but what he himself might become. The Eye of the World also explores destiny as something uncomfortable rather than glorious. Rand and his friends do not leave home because they want fame or adventure. They are pushed into circumstances they barely understand and forced to choose whether to trust others, accept change, or retreat into fear. By the end, the immediate danger has been challenged, but the larger conflict is only beginning. The characters can no longer see the world as small, safe, or predictable. Jordan's central message is that growing up often means discovering that history, institutions, and even your own identity are more complicated than you believed. The journey changes them not because they find all the answers, but because they understand how many questions remain.